because I was asked and approached by a civil rights organization right after that. I just graduated from law school. Remember this. And I was asked to take the helm of the Michigan chapter of the most prominent and largest Muslim civil rights organization. And that's the Council on American Islamic Relations of Michigan. And the next 2 or 3 years of my life were a whirlwind. I mean, I was at the center of this, huge fallout that happened, and it continues to happen, actually. In fact, for Muslims, I think we're starting to feel the brunt of it a lot more now than even right after. And so we had to deal with this quite a lot. So, we had lots of cases coming in of discrimination. We had lots of, obviously there was a lot of outreach, people wanting to know about what is, Islam, what are Muslims, who are Muslims, this kind of thing. We did a tour throughout the state. Speaking to, I would be coming home like really, really late. I mean, it was, my wife is sitting right here. That's why I'm pointing right here, because she remembers. But in fact, she was with me right initially. I mean, it was, she was there helping me. But in any case, it was a whirlwind. And yeah, how did it affect? I mean, look, if I could go back right now, I don't think there's a person here. I pray, I wish that 9/11 did not happen, for so many reasons. And one of them being, just the effect that it has had on Muslims and Islam and the perception of Muslims and Islam across the world. There's 1 billion Muslims, and for the acts of this small group, and believe me, this is a small group of extremists that all of us, all of us despise, and they repulse all of us. But our whole entire population got painted with them. They became our ambassadors somehow. And that, to me, there's not a day that goes by. If you want to know what do Muslims think about, yeah, we worry about all the same stuff as you. We worry about our kids and their education and saving for that, and paying the bills, and and socializing, all that kind of stuff, whatever. Yeah, we worry about that. But I don't think there's a day that goes by for a Muslim in America, especially now, that they don't think about the effects of 9/11 and the effects and the image of Muslims in America and the perception and the nasty stuff that is being said about us and the future that our kids are going to have to live in. We think about this in their country, our country, their country. My daughter, she doesn't, at least I speak another language, my parents, taught it to me. But my she's been to almost every state in the United States. She hasn't actually traveled overseas, but I'm worried about the world that she's going to live in and grow up in, or that they're going to grow up in. So yes, it has affected us, and it does. There's everything kind of, to the point where when we speak on the phone with each other, I can't call up Shamael and be like, man, that game was the bomb. Sorry. Yeah. So, like that type of thing. Paintballing. Somebody texted me today and they're like, hey, you want to go paintballing with a bunch of guys, 2 weeks from now? I got to think about that. You see what I'm saying? I can't be caught paintballing, because I'll be on Fox News tomorrow, and then they'll be like, these guys are training, right? See what I'm saying? These are all the things that go through our heads now. Everything is like with this lens. We can't even be who we are, in a way. So if you meet a Muslim and they're acting kind of like, awkward or whatnot, think about, what's going through their head, because they're a little bit, nervous. So, well, that's my take.
I just wanted to add 2 things to that. First, we're here as American Muslims, so that's both parts of that are our identity. So as Americans, we obviously feel the sadness, and every year you see the 9/11 anniversary, we all feel that pain for what it did to our country. As Muslims, there's a part of me that is, obviously very, as he said, we despise that. But I think what I also, maybe despise might not be the right word, but I guess I'm discouraged by or disappointed with, is that somehow it is seen that Muslims must explain the actions of these people, that every Muslim has to. So, for example, we can talk about this in more detail, the things like the Ground Zero Mosque or whatnot. It's as if American Muslims have explaining to do about why these things are happening, or why do they continue to happen. And the reality is that as Americans and as Muslims who are peaceful and loving, they really have nothing to do with us. We are who we are in this country, and we tend to maintain it, our peace. The only thing that's there is the share of faith. We share faith, but that could be said about a lot of other acts that have happened in the past. Whether slavery could be explained as a sharing of race by people, or the acts of Oklahoma City could be, in 1993, could be explained by the sharing of faith by certain Christian groups. We can't lump all peoples together based on the actions of a few, and I really want to stress that.
Okay, I have a question here that just provides an opportunity for a point of clarification. The question reads, I would like to hear from some Muslim women about their experience. Actually, this panel was on Sons of America, and there had been a separate panel that included all women, in which women, Muslim women, did talk about their experiences. So we're not avoiding the topic of women. This is just simply not the forum for that discussion.
I also do want to say, I'm Tim Grimes from the library, that if you're interested in that, that is on our website, aadl.org, because we did film it. So it's available. If you're interested in the topic, it's available for everyone to see.
Excellent. Thank you, Tim. Okay. We have a question here. How would you respond if your son or daughter expressed interest in practicing a different religion?
You sit down, you talk to them. Talk what is it that makes you interested? What is it about the faith? And you sit and talk to them. If my son or my daughter, I'm a little funny with my daughter. My son, you know, I'll sit down. I believe I've given him that icon of manhood and everything. I'm a little funny with my daughter. As soon as I hear there's another opposite sex has something to do with it, I'm thinking differently. Okay? I'm thinking differently. I said I'm thinking differently. But no, you find out. I mean, because I had that conversation with my mother and my father. My father, he like grabbed me and said, so what's this? And I talked to him. So that's, you know, you talk to him. You know, okay, I don't want to go to U of M. I want to go to Michigan State. Ooh. You know, you talk to them. You have a conversation. I think Michigan State has a better this. Really? Really? He's been at your house, hasn't he? Or something, you know. So you just have the conversation with him. And that's what I would do. And then I'd kill him. Hey, Tim, are we still being taped?
I was going to say, that's what's going to make Fox News.
That's it.
That'll be that clip. Yeah.
Anybody else want to add?
I think that's it. I mean, I think that's the philosophy. I mean, we have the same thing. We talk. My eldest daughter is 8 years old, and already, you know, I talk to her about drugs, alcohol, all that kind of stuff because I want her to be ready. It's not too soon, right? And then I did test her on dating. You know, I know we're talking about faith, but I said, so do you know what a date is? She said, sure. She said, Khidr, and that's the Urdu word for dates, you know, like the ones you eat. So I said, okay, cool, yeah. We can talk about that later. All right, yeah, that's good. So, anyways, but yeah, no, I think that's the main thing. I mean, the attitude is to talk about it because, look, at the end of the day, there's no compulsion in religion. Of course, you desire for your kids what you desire for yourself. You know, we love our faith, and we would like them just like anybody else. You would like them to, you know, grasp those values and share those values. But if something, you know, happens, you can only pray for them and you know, try to guide them. That's it.
Okay. Next question. What resources, in quotation marks, are available to those of us who are non-Muslim to give to those who are fearful of Islam when it comes to, quote, why don't moderate Muslims come out publicly against the radical Muslims who want to destroy the West?
I've got one for you. Go to the website CARE, is it .com now?
Org, I think.
.org. CARE.org, there is a C-A-I-R. I'm sure they C-A-R-E too, but it is C-A-I-R. That's the Council of American Islamic Relations. They have a link to a 68-page list of all the different scholars or moderates who have condemned 9/11 and some of the actions thereafter. So 68 pages. I'm not sure what more needs to be said after that. I mean, it's a pretty exhaustive list of some of the most influential Muslim scholars in the world. And again, I have to reiterate this point. It's not often that people have to explain the actions of others, and this is going, I think some of that, part of this question lends itself to that, is that somehow I have to explain the actions of people who are brethren in my faith. They may have a lot of different reasons than I do, and I think some of their reasons are very misguided. I think that's probably the way to leave it at.
Okay. Next question. Do you believe that Sufi, I assume they mean Sufis, are given their share in decision-making in our mosques?
Okay. I mean, anybody else want to? Look, actually, it depends what mosque you're talking about or whatever it is, but to be honest, most people don't ask you for a badge or wait, hey, can I see your Sufi badge? Or whatever it is. You don't have like a stamped passport or something like that, So I think that a large majority of mosques are actually open to whoever actually shows up and wants to actually participate. I mean, really, that's what it is. I mean, most people don't even want to volunteer. No, of course, there are issues with the, what do we have, like 2,000, something like that, whatever it is. The mosques across America, there are issues with some of them in terms of inclusion and whatnot, but that's just like many other faiths, and perhaps it's more pronounced in mosques simply because you may have a larger immigrant population, and also the mix that Dr. Jackson had mentioned. You got people from 70 different countries coming and mixing with each other, and you have indigenous as well as immigrant, and so you'll get issues there. But because I'm just trying to get to what the question is. It seems like it was actually asked by a Muslim, but the way it was worded.
I think we need to define Sufi because maybe some people don't know what a Sufi is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Dr. Jackson. Dr. Jackson.
No,
Nobody on this panel is the professor of Islamic studies.
No. No. Some of my students are here, so that'll be considered cheating. So, well, go ahead, Chris.
No, please.
Anyway, Sufis by Sufis, what they're talking about is an expression of a combination of ascetic and mystical Islam. So there are Muslims who are more ascetic in terms of renouncing or doing away with the pleasures of the world in order to purify the self. And alongside that, there is a mystical element that seeks to heighten the intensity and the experiential component of one's relationship with God. In other words, to go from God as a concept, that's something that we think about, theologize about, to God as an actual experience. And that experience can range from, just God's immanent presence on the one hand, all the way up to, actual mystical union with God on the other. And there are a range of expressions of Sufism. Sufism is not just one thing. Sufism is an orientation, generally known as Islamic mysticism. All right. Next question. It says...
Can I just make a point?
Yes,
Actually,
please.
not about this question, but the question before. So with all due respect, I don't think the people that are questioning, like, Muslims are going to go, like, a 68-page document is going to do much to convey, like, persuade them that Muslims aren't radical or trying to take over the world. But I would just encourage, if you're a non-Muslim and you have a friend who thinks that about Muslims, just try to get them to meet Muslims. Usually that's all it really takes. I mean, I think we're all pretty nice guys and girls, so.
Not all of us.
Not all of us. But, yeah, I mean, unless I'm trying to think of, like, maybe movies or deep YouTube videos or something.
There's also myfaithmyvoice.com, I want to say. My Faith, My Voice. That's, if you really want to hear from Muslims who are organically just making their own videos, because I think they got fed up with the fact that somebody else is painting and defining the faith for them or for us, they just basically started doing YouTube videos. Now some are produced, just the first or one or two, but the other ones are just people who are just, turning it on and then kind of saying stuff about themselves. Like, oh, there's been a lot been said about Muslims lately. Well, here.